Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, released a final trailer. And I feel real bad for joking after the previous trailer that red-eyed Threepio had just inhaled the wrong stuff at Pisana Burning Man, because apparently that redness is droid blood. Kidding aside, I got an actual theory for what the hell is going on with Threepio here, which I will get to as I break down this trailer shot by shot for all the Easter eggs and visual clues that you might have overlooked. Spoiler warning in case any of my speculation ends up being too accurate or if my excitement is too genuine, because I'm a little boy when it comes to these things. All right, let's get started.
It's an instinct. Feeling.
Okay, the trailer opens with a calm nature shot, a lush jungle, followed by, surprise, Rey dropping a helmet and running from what looks like a combat remote droid. Now, past Star Wars new trilogy trailers have opened with similar reveal shots. For the Force Awakens trailer, it was a calm pan across the Jakku desert, and if you remember for the Last Jedi trailer, it was a calm close-up of a boulder, and then Rey hand! This jungle appears to be the same location Rey hugs Leia in other footage, and the place where she caught her lightsaber in the previous trailer. Some are saying we could be returning to Endor, since the ruins of the second Death Star appear to factor into this movie's plot, and Endor was the nearest surface in that splash zone. This helmet that she drops might be similar to the helmet that Luke used while training with one of those droids, but this helmet looks a lot different, actually kind of similar to the Rebel helmets in Return of the Jedi on Endor. Now, it is not clear why she is running from a Jedi equivalent of a speed bag, though based on the first teaser, Rey alone trying to outrun threats seems to be something she'll be doing a lot in Rise of Skywalker. There's this glorious mid-air match cut as Rey leaps, landing now inside what looks like the Death Star wreckage that we've seen other shots of. All of this evokes the first images we saw of Rey in The Force Awakens, acrobatically scaling the inside of a wrecked Star Destroyer. Notice that Rey wears this backpack that we saw her carrying in the previous trailer as she gazed out at this wreckage, perhaps as a breathing apparatus that allows her to dive into submerged regions, or just a fancy pouch to contain what she is seeking here. More thoughts on that as we move on.
The Force brought us together. We're not alone. Good people will fight if we lead them.
In this clip, Finn looks through binoculars on what looks like the desert planet Pisana, maybe spotting the pursuers who chase them on that skiff in other shots. Then Rey runs along the ridge of this jungle planet, and while Endor seems like a place that could show up in this movie, Endor's terrain was that of the Northern California redwood forest, and this looks more rugged and tropical, like just over that ridge could be Wakanda. This just doesn't look like the same planet as the coastline that faced the Death Star wreckage. Now, Poe gives a speech to a group of Resistance pilots. He's joined by Finn, Chewie, Threepio, Lando Calrissian, my man. You can also see a Mon Calamari behind Lando. That is actually the late Admiral Akbar's son, Aftab, who was just introduced in the Age of Resistance prelude comic. Also among them could be Wedge Antilles, who, according to Dennis Lawson, will also return for this film. Notice that several of the fighters appear to be consoling each other with hands on shoulders. This moment could be Poe sharing the news that General Leia Organa has passed. A lot of reasons to cry. There's also a shot of Rose Tico, and behind her is Dominic Monaghan's character, a still unnamed Resistance fighter. Rose is still wearing the medallion necklace that she shared with her sister, the bomber Paige Tico, who died early on in The Last Jedi. Poe, Finn, and Chewie turn to face us, and Poe has a black armband wrapped around his arm, which could signify mourning for the late General Organa. The three stand before this orange fighter. According to Toys, this is Poe's new X-Wing, or Sex Wing, probably Finn's nickname for it. What? They share jackets. And I just realized that Sex Wing sounds like sex swing. And let's swing on to the next clip.
People keep telling me they know me. No one does.
But I do.
Here, a cruiser brushes the treetops, and then Rey stands atop the trench of the Death Star wreckage as huge waves crash over her. The detail of this shot is insane. The cannon behind Rey is streaked with rust, like a capsized battleship poking out of the water, exposed to the elements. Also, as the rain and ocean spray soaks Rey, the droplets of water sizzle and vaporize as they hit her lightsaber blade. Kylo approaches, ready to duel, and note that Rey no longer has that backpack that she appeared to have in the other shots of this location. Perhaps whatever she found, she has hidden from Kylo in this moment, and that's the treasure that they're fighting over. Moving on.
Long have I waited, and now you're coming together.
Whoa, baby! Okay, dozens of TIE fighters close in on this flat earther's wet dream, an icebergy disk planet. Both bases have structures built on top, smokestacks it looks like on the top face, and elaborate skyscraper structures carved into the ice on the bottom. Actually, I'm wondering if this shot is actually upside down. In the longer version, we'll rotate to reveal this is the bottom side, which would be a pretty cool visual trick by J.J. Abrams, because if you think about it, TIE fighters are symmetrical. We wouldn't know which way we were oriented. It's space! Now, I'm wondering if this is actually the new ice planet Kijimi, whatever, the surface of which I think we have seen in other footage. Now, I'll try to piece all this together in a bit, but first, we gotta talk about this gnarly Sith throne. When the lightning illuminates it, you can see that it's made of stone, perhaps from the volcanic rock of the ancient Sith temple on Mustafar? Not sure. But Lucasfilm creative art manager Phil Szostak tweeted confirming that this throne's design was based on Ralph McQuarrie's 1981 concept art sketches of Palpatine's throne in Return of the Jedi. Next, there's a shot of a Star Destroyer rising from this ice surface. Oh my God. Now, this is part of the fleet of old school Star Destroyers we saw in the previous trailer. Notice the spherical shield generator. That's old school, baby. We've also been speculating how or why anyone could have built a fleet of massive Star Destroyers in secret without the New Republic knowing about it, or the First Order wanting to use it. Perhaps the answer is in the ice. A backup fleet of super Star Destroyers hidden in the ice, waiting to be activated. Their rise could account for the cracking ice planet surface that we've seen in past trailer shots. But then we move on to the most detail-packed shot of this trailer, the Resistance fleet, Avengers assembling. Pretty much every ship in the shot is an Easter egg. I'm gonna point out all the ones that I spotted. But first, before we continue, thanks to our sponsor Raycon for helping us make this breakdown. Raycon makes these sleek, comfortable wireless headphones that are way more affordable than any of the other options out there. They come in a range of fun colors and patterns and a variety of fit options. So they're both stylish and discreet. No dangling wires or stems that, in the past have left me feeling tangled and crosswired, kind of like 3PO in every damn movie. Raycon's latest model, the E25, is their best one yet. It's got 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. It also comes in new fun colorways. You just pair them with your device and you pop them in and you're good to listen to whatever music or podcast you want. Just like Snoop Dogg can, who I am told is obsessed with these. It's one of the infinite things Snoop and I have in common. Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market. They sound just as amazing as top audio brands that you know. And click on the link in the description below to get 15% off your order. Okay, back to the Resistance fleet Easter eggs. Front and center, obviously that's the Falcon, but to its immediate right is the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels, appearing again after its little cameo in Rogue One, also from Rebels behind the Falcon's radar dish as it lowers in a frame, which that radar dish has been reattached. That is the Shadowcaster. Now also visible in this frame, I think that's Raven's Claw? For it was the Nerd House in the Harry Potter world, the Raven's Claw was Kyle Katarn's ship in the Jedi Knight video games, as well as the Outrider, that would be Dash Rendar's YT-2400 light freighter from the Shadows of the Empire games. In the distant background, I think there are some Lucrehulk battleships from the Clone Wars era, and maybe some Mon Calamari cruisers. And among all of this, you should also be able to make out a U-260D U-Wing, the Corvus from Battlefront 2, a Pelta-class frigate from Clone Wars, a whole bunch of Nebulon B frigates, some MC-75s, a Hammerhead Corvette, that was the one that we saw in Rogue One, red and green-nosed Consular-class ships, the Braha'tak from the Battle of Endor and Return of the Jedi, a Baleen-class heavy freighter, that was a ship that Han and Chewie were initially on in The Force Awakens, a Defender-class Corvette from the Old Republic games, a Lancer-class pursuit craft from Rebels, and recently revealed in The Last Jedi, an MG-100 Star Fortress SF-17 bomber, a Vakbir-class cargo frigate, and a Free Virgilia-class blunkerbuster. Let me know if you spotted any others here. And with the shot of Rey, Chewie, Poe, and Finn, and 3PO in the Falcon cockpit, we move on.
Is your undoing.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir. At my friends.
Okay, I think we can do this. So Rey and Kylo battle on the Death Star wreckage, followed by a quick shot of a massive explosion in space. Now, in the foreground of that explosion, you can make out a triangular shape of a Star Destroyer. hold on to that thought. But then after we see the boat that Rey uses to make it out of that wreckage, our hearts become wrecked thanks to 3PO. Rewiring the back of his head is this little dude. His name is Babu Frick, an Anzelian droidsmith who works with the Spice Runners of Kijimi. One of them, presumably, is Zori Bliss, Kerry Russell's character, who appears in the scene. Poe, Rey, Finn, Chewie, BB-8, D-O, and R2 are all watching on here, so obviously this is a very significant moment, but probably the most significant person in the scene. The background of this droid repair shop, a deactivated battle droid from the prequels? Remember those? Where are you taking them? Roger. Anyway, 3PO appears to be saying goodbye to his friends. But why? All might not be lost, folks, because perhaps 3PO could be doing what L337 did with the Millennium Falcon in Solo: A Star Wars Story, interfacing.
She's interfacing.
Plugging the droid CPU into a ship to become its sort of operating system. So the way the Falcon's personality is technically that of Fleabag, maybe now 3PO's personality could live on in another ship, maybe the ruins of the Death Star 2, or one of the new Star Destroyers that also seem to be tucked away on Kijimi. By plugging 3PO into one of those ships, maybe they will try to use that ship's weaponry on the other Star Destroyers. Look, folks, if we're gonna have to say goodbye to 3PO here, what a way for the guy to go out! And it would leave R2 as the one survivor of all 9 films to tell the tale to the next generation via bleeps and whistles that all translate into extreme profanity. On to the next clip.
Confronting fear. It's the destiny of a Jedi. Your destiny.
All right, here, Poe, Finn, Chewie blast their way down a hall, perhaps on board of one of those Star Destroyers. The shot choreography here is thrilling. The low angle with First Order stormtroopers dropping in front of us. It's as if the camera is like on a rolling mouse droid. So cool. BB-8 punctures a yellow gas canister as a flare to throw off their pursuers on Pasaana. Lando and Chewie are back in the Falcon, Lando piloting it just as he did in the Battle of Endor. Then a Y-wing barrel rolls up to a Star Destroyer, which has a massive cannon on its underbelly. Perhaps these new Star Destroyers are each equipped with a Death Star level super laser, which, if you think about it, unleashed all over the galaxy, that would make this entire fleet an uncontrollable apocalyptic threat. Moving on. This section features Finn, Poe, BB-8, and Janna, that's Naomi Ackie's character, in a cavalry charge. Now, I'm not sure what these galloping horse creatures are. Some have said they look like the Bordok of Endor. Well, I'm not sure. They appear to be on the outer hull of a Star Destroyer, so wherever they are, it must be low enough within an atmosphere for them to breathe, or maybe since Leia and Mary Poppins through space, everything is just crazy now. Rey and Kylo face each other in this familiar spot. This is the ruins of the second Death Star throne room, where Palpatine presided over the duel between Luke and Vader. And I think the thing Rey is seeking is some remnant of either Vader or Palpatine that is left in this location, because after this is the most interesting shot of the trailer. Rey and Kylo's lightsabers shattering the statue, which to me looks kind of like a Vader shape. Notice that Kylo's helmet is back on, fused back together, as we saw in the other trailer footage. But more importantly, Rey is holding a stone dagger. What the Horcrux? Now, some are saying this could be the Dagger of Mortis, an ancient mystical weapon from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. According to lore, it's connected to the godlike beings, the Father, the Daughter, and the Son. It's a fascinating Sunday school story. We'll see if Rise of Skywalker will draw on the lore presented in the animated series to this extent, but this dagger could also be the way Palpatine lived on, like his essence perhaps possessing it as an old Force artifact, something that dead Sith have been known to do in Star Wars canon. This white tinted setting is unlike any that we've seen in these prequels, though notice that line and dot lighting on the walls does evoke the set design of the original trilogy. Maybe it's a vault containing Palpatine's or Vader's old Sith tokens, and Kylo and Rey are fighting for that dagger with their blades shattering all the other artifacts in this chamber. Then there's another angle of the cavalry charge that shows an X-Wing and a B-Wing dogfighting with some TIE fighters on the dozens of Star Destroyers on the horizon. Notice that all of them appear to have that bulge. That big weapon we got a close-up on their undercarriage earlier, they're all packing it. And then before we move on, Rey backs away in fear, looking up at, what's that in the foreground? Folks, that looks like a black hooded cloak. I think we're looking at Palpatine here. Now, this person is seated high above Rey. Based on its motion, he could be either in a floating chair or in some kind of mech droid form. Perhaps Rey's journey to recover the artifact awakened Palpatine on Kijimi, along with the remnants of his scorched earth contingency operation Cinder, which consisted a backup fleet of superstar destroyers. In which case it could be all on Threepio, of all people, to save us. On to the final clip.
The Force will be with you.
Always.
So, Rey, apparently on the ice planet's surface, based on those lightning flashes, lightsaber drawn, hears the inspiration voices of two mentors. Luke Skywalker assures her the Force will be with you, and whispering always is the voice of Carrie Fisher, Leia. Now, J.J. Abrams said that he would be repurposing footage and audio of the late Carrie Fisher with her family's blessing from past films, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, as opposed to using VFX magic to try to resurrect her. This exact word, always, might have been from an alternate take of this line from The Force Awakens.
I've always hated watching you leave.
And now I'm more upset. What do you think 3PO's fate will be in The Rise of Skywalker? Comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. And if you enjoy these breakdowns of all the details that you missed in Star Wars stuff, one big project that we've been wanting to do is a rewatch series of all the past films, the classic original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. One way that you can help us fit this series into our overpacked schedule is by becoming a patron of our new expansion to New Rockstars Digital Studios and RDS. With enough patrons, we will be able to do classic Star Wars breakdowns in the weeks leading up to Rise of Skywalker, plus patrons will get access to an exclusive monthly bonus breakdown. If you can help us out, check out the link in the description. And a big thanks to our past patron, Jake Storm. Thanks, buddy. Thank you for joining me. And hey, if 3PO is interfacing with the ship, let us hope that his AI ends up getting transferred to the Falcon, because just the thought of Anthony Daniels bickering with Fleabag forever and ever and the coolest ship ever, it's just too perfect.